Listen, Dr. Umar, I don't know if you think that I'm well beyond your intelligence level that we couldn't talk across a table. Some podcasts will put that up because I'd love to talk to you direct. Because what people see on the internet, you're a psychologist, right? I told you I study psychology, right? And so I do and say things just to get a rise out of people. What I said was, like you said, I'm not apologetic for what I said, and I stated my thing. And now you saying about Africanism, and you say that no white guy could be. Well, you have to look at everything else. You can't say that Tiger Woods could be the best at golf. You can't say we might as well just give it to Larry Bird because black people didn't invent basketball. But yet, most of the basketball players that are the greatest are black basketball players. Should we take away their credibility just because of the idealistic things that you're saying? Open up and expand the picture. And like I say, if you want to put everything as a black and white thing, now I want to tell you this. You said that I don't believe in Jesus. You said about our what do you call that? You said our well, I don't know whether you were saying that about me, but you did say it on a thing that looking for Jesus, looking for your white Jesus. Well, I'd like to let you know, sir, that I'm an agnostic. I believe in the energy of the universe. I deal with spiritualism. I don't deal with ghostly figures. All right? Because if I believed in God, I would have to believe that there's a not a red man running around, red in color, with horns and a cape and a pitchfork and fire. And so that right there totally eludes me. I'm not trying to down what you're saying, and it's like you're shifting the words a little bit, just like people are shifting my words. You take and say that you deal with black Africanism, right? But yet, what you do is you read these magazines and you bring that propaganda into our community. Now, these folks, I've learned that you are a real doctor, but you're a doctor of psychology. That means that you know how to manipulate people just by the way you speak, your movement, your actions. You know how to get people riled up on certain situations just by the way. You are a well, you was a Jedi until now you Yoda because I figured it out, right? But you say that we bring this to the community. None of us heard this until you said it. We didn't deal with that particular issue in hip hop and whatnot. And when I look at you, right, like I keep saying, like you say, you're elder. I'm not trying to be ignorant on this one. You say you're elder, and when I look at you and I say, Dr. Umar, these young children, they don't understand what you're saying. I mean, they would understand it if you were to look at these young men and women and put it into a different perspective, because that black and white thing does not fit into our society anymore. I have young black nephews that have white women. I have I have nieces that have white men. And so that type of doctrine is only going to keep us back in the 70s. See, these folks don't know because they can't look up videos of Huey. They can't look up videos of Stokely. They can't look up videos of Frey. You get 2 minutes of it, and 2 minutes of it doesn't show that the same thing that you keep bringing into every situation. Everything is not about. We already know that the Illuminati exists and whatever. So if we know this, why do we keep talking about it? Why you got to keep talking about it? We know it. Now, what you going to do about it? You know they exist. You know there's a culture that keep blaming somebody. I look at it as, because of my age, like you called me your elder statesman, because of my age, I would look at that like if you were allowed to keep on continuing that rhetoric, it's like you opening up an old wound, right? And then you get to be able to come along and be the guy to put the band-aid on it. That's not what it is. What you can be doing right now, because these young individuals don't deal on that racism, only old folks like us remember that, sir. And you're old enough to remember it, so you're in that old folk group because you're still speaking that rhetoric. I have nothing against the black culture. All I say to the black culture, and we just take and minimize these little things and make it important. The important thing is, you have your ideas, I have mine. I'm a grown man. I wish I wouldn't have to sit here back and forth on the internet with you because I'd love to pick your brain. Because for the simple fact, I study psychology. But if you studied psychology and you studied Freudian psychology, the psychology that you studied no longer is in effect for these people of today. Freudian psychology and Edward Bernays and I'm telling you, we both know psychology. Well, Edward Bernays, he was the main figure that Hitler's propaganda people wrote their book on. Okay, we're talking about psychology. You're a professor of it, sir. But all I'm telling you, you sound like you're preaching Freudian psychology because you sound like you're diagnosing those with psychological defects from back then. You are not looking at what these people and what these young men and all, they looking at you like you crazy. Yeah, the older folks is on you, with you. Yeah, they with you, but the younger ones that you have to really get into their mind, they looking at you like you crazy, sir. For the simple fact, you trying to tell me I got to tell my white baby mama, forget her family, forget my kid. You're going to tell the little black niece that, oh, she got a white husband, blah, blah, blah. That's not what it is. What you should be preaching is self-awareness and self-bringing up. You want to say, well, Shan, what have you done? Well, let me tell you, all of your years in the activism thing, I've put my neck on the line harder than you have, sir. Back in the days, there was a song that I made called Time for Us to Defend Ourselves, bringing police brutality to the masses, not only the hood, not only Channel 7 News, but to everybody across the world. Every New York City police officer hated me. Everywhere I went, they watched me. Every minute I could have just been pulled over and beat because of what I did. I put my neck on the line, so I know it's just, and the hook for Time for Us to Defend Ourselves went something like this, and I borrowed it from our great brother Malcolm X. Since the government has refused to defend the Negro, the descendants of slaves, time for us to do whatever is necessary to defend ourselves. But you're advocating violence. No, it's time for us to do whatever is necessary to defend ourselves. So don't look at me, the elder statesman, just because I speak the way I speak sometimes when I just have something on my mind, as if I'm a lower form of intelligence than you. I know what I'm saying. I speak the same language that you do. It's not the language that what you're speaking. I speak the same thing that you do. You can look on my timeline today and I'll show you a video that speaks directly to our nephew, speaking the same rhetoric. I'm going to call it what you're saying rhetoric that you do. But I spoke it in a language that it's not the message, it's how you deliver it, sir. So that's my only problem. And you can say whatever you want about me. I'm not a doctor. I'm not this. And I know what? I've got to say this. You kept it very respectful. You didn't come outside of your comfort zone. You responded and you made it sound, you know what I mean? But in the end of the day, I still have an opinion. And I wish that I could have sat across the table from you to pick your brain, sir, because you are a doctor of psychology. But although I'm no scholar, I studied psychology, like I told you. Sigmund Freud, Edward Bernays, Goebel, all of those who, Genghis Khan, Adolf Hitler, all of those, I wanted to understand how one man can control the masses. And the only way that you can understand that is just by getting to the psychology of man. That's it. I didn't have to go to school like you to understand the psychology, but as I look at you, knowing what I know from what I've studied psychology, that Freudian psychology does not work in today's society. The white man, this, that. How you gonna tell a little young black individual that got a phone that the white man keeping me from my money? How are you going to tell him that? He's not going to believe you. So at that point, you got to recognize what your position is. Oh, okay, so your position in that place is not to tell him that white man keeping you from. You're supposed to take and switch your psychological dimensions, because you are a psychologist, to recognize what this young man needs, because you are a psychologist. And you say, well, I'm not going to be able to help him there, but how I can help him is to show him not to take that phone and blow it. Put it back into the community. Open a business. Open this. Open that. Do what you do. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, you as a psychologist, sir, should be able to recognize these things right off the bat and be able to diagnose a treatment for that. See, because prevention is better than a cure. So, you saying what you saying, I realize that you still don't have touch with the new psychological mindset of the people of today. That Freudian psychology doesn't work. I wish that we could have sat across the table and I didn't have to go back and forth. And people in these magazines are not going to put this up, because I'm not looking like an irate idiot, and I'm not looking like I'm just la. So you got to watch those folks too, because they don't want this type of dialogue to happen between a man that has a doctrine and a person like me, that they always portray as an idiot that doesn't know anything. He doesn't know his ass from his elbow. He drinks wine all day, and every time he opens his mouth, it just shit falls out. Yes, shit falls out. Sure does. But I'm not going to be apologetic for the shit that falls out. And any shit that falls out, I can fucking clean it up, because I can explain to you why I took a shit on you at that point in time. I'm sorry, but I had to shit on you at that minute. I'll wipe it off, alright? Appreciate you. One time for your mind, two times for your soul, your man Shizzle. And like I said, there's a certain things when you say people are looking for a Jesus, sir. Like I say, I'm an agnostic. I don't believe in mysterious things. And like I said, if I believe in God, I have to believe that there's a red man running around in fire with a cape, with horns and a pitchfork. And so, you as a psychological psychotherapist, you have some science behind you. Let me not mess with you while you're on the pulpit, sir. Who you trying to mess with? That's why I say Yoda, Jedi mind trick. You as a psychologist are using that because you know how to move people. But if you're a psychologist, science is more on your side, other than boom. All right? And in your field, the field of psychology, it's more on MK Ultra. Fool, bam, bam, bam. How can you? I know this already. But I love you, sir. Like I said, I wish I could have sat across the table from you and I didn't have to do it in this manner. Because sometimes when I do things, I like to do things just maybe to strike a response. Because all of these things that I do on the internet, like I told you, I study people and their psychological makeup. I'm going to tell you this. When I talk garbage and I put bullshit on my Instagram, I get a million likes. But when I put up a video like I put up today that says, young man, a message to our young black youth, you know, I don't even get any looks at it. And I'm suspecting that because of the psychological makeup of folks. They want to stay plugged into the matrix. The things that I'm saying is going to unplug you from the matrix, but yet you can survive in the matrix because you have a better understanding of the matrix. But you don't want to unplug. You want me to put up some bull crap. You want me to talk about somebody. You want me to talk about Doc. You want me to talk about this. That's what you want. That's what you want because that's their psychological makeup. And I produce these experiments on my own. Sometimes it's deliberate. Sometimes it's just happenstance. But I mentally log. Okay, I'm getting this response on this kind of thing. I done said some bullshit. But I done put this positive thing right here up. And nobody looks at it. That's okay, because it's not a waste. I did it. Those who saw it took it in and took it for what it was for. But like I said, the psychological makeup of folks, you like drama. You like things that stir up that inner killer in you. Yeah, that's what you love. See, like I said, I might not have a doctrine in psychology, but I had enough doctrine in psychology to say something to make the psychologist respond. All right, appreciate you. One time for your mind, two times for your soul. Nothing standing between you and success, but there's an opportunity. Time to go get it. Like I said, I wish that this could have been a conversation that I could have spoke to Dr. Umar. Wouldn't have been no, yeah. I would have loved it, you know what I'm saying? So this way I can take away that stigma of Shan as just an idiot all the time. I'm going to show y'all what it is in 2024. I've been playing games with y'all. I ain't playing no more. I'm gonna be just silly. That's it. I ain't gonna act idiotic and stupid. I'm just gonna be silly.